reasons for the mob's success are clear. Its tactics and techniques are well known. Organization and discipline, vows of secrecy and loyalty, insulation of its leaders from direct criminal involvement, bribery and corruption of law enforcement and public officials. The time has come to cripple the power of the mob in America.
What you're about to see is real. This is not The Godfather or Goodfellas. This is not a movie. There is no script. For the first time anywhere, you will see a sit-down between two made men. Men who swore the sacred oath. Not just soldiers in the mob, but real bosses. Sammy the Bull Gravano from the Gambino family. And Michael Francis from the Colombo family. We'll have a sit down and hash out their differences right before your eyes. Valuetainment presents a once-in-a-lifetime sit-down.
Sammy, Michael, thank you for agreeing to do this. I didn't think this was going to take place for a long time. You were upset the first time I even brought it up to you. It was the first time you saw my interview with Michael. We were on the phone for 2.5 hours. I said, this is probably never going to be taking place. And then, Michael, I never thought you would agree to this interview. But finally, we are making this happen. I know a lot of people have been looking forward to seeing this. The public sees Cosa Nostra, they think about Godfather. They think about maybe Soprano, maybe Goodfellas, maybe Bronx Tale, maybe, Donnie Brasco with Lefty. They see the movies. They don't, the movie is what they know about it. What is Cosa Nostra to you, and does it still have the same meaning today as it did back in the 80s?
First of all, it's part of my heritage as an Italian. This came from Sicily. It was created in Sicily in the 12th century, maybe even a little bit before. It was called clans back then, and they protected the people. That's how Cosa Nostra started. It became the mafia instead of clans. It evolved, it came into this country, and there's a long history, and there was hundreds of movies. Al Capone and Lucky Luciano and Vito Genovese and on and on and on. So this has meaning to me. When I was a kid, I was a fuck up in schools. I didn't get out of the 8th grade. I didn't have the privilege of growing up and graduating high school like Michael did, or going to college, or wanting to be a doctor. I was a thug. I was in a gang, and Cosa Nostra is what kept me alive.
Kept you alive?
Kept me alive. It meant something to me. And when I got into them guys, those bad guys, our guys, they were idols to me growing up. His stepdad, Sonny Francis, he went to prison, and I don't want to talk about your dad, but a little bit I do know. He went to prison on some propped up bullshit charges. And they gave him, I believe it was 50 years.
And let me straighten something out. I don't know any father but Sonny Francis. It's the only father I know from the time. Yeah, don't know anyone else. Whether he's my real father or not, my mother made a revelation. It's in the back of the book. I don't have to go into it as far as she told the world that he's my father. And I don't want to get into my family issue at that point, but he's the only father I know and I love. He had tremendous influence on me. I don't have the same feeling of Cosa Nostra as you do. My father didn't want this life for me, wanted me to go to school, wanted me to be a doctor. I always say this, if you would ask me at that point what I wanted to be in my life, I wanted to play center field for the New York Yankees. Mickey Mantle was also, I was an athlete. That's what I wanted to do.
At what age are you talking about? 16, 17?
Yeah, I'm talking about, well, when my dad went away, I was 18 years old,
Okay, so at that point.
19 years old.
But you came into the mafia in your 20s. So
That's right.
that lasted all that period of time that you didn't want to have nothing to do with it. You have no allegiance, no nothing. You don't even like it.
I didn't say I didn't like it, Sammy. I said I had no aspirations to be part of
No
it.
aspirations.
Yeah, this is not what I
Unusual.
wanted.
You had no aspirations, but
Right.
yet at 24 you came in and you did a serious thing of burning the saint
That's right.
in a secret society, and you abided on. You were told when you took the oath.
From that point on, it was very serious
Yeah,
to me.
well, okay,
Very
when you were
serious.
told if you asked to kill for the family, would you kill? And you said yes,
I said yes.
because you're alive. Because if you said no, while you're taking this oath, you're not walking out of that room.
Absolutely.
You can't tell the boss, no, I'm not gonna do it. You're not
Absolutely.
getting out of that room.
But
They
at
would have
that,
killed you and they say, who's next? Bring him down.
absolutely.
Okay.
But at that point, when that saint was burnt to my hand, I already proved myself. Otherwise, that wouldn't have happened.
How?
I proved myself, Sammy.
How? Did you kill someone? You didn't live a rough life. Did you even have fights? Did you do anything? You were in the gang.
Sammy,
You
let
were
me
going
tell
to
you something.
college.
When I was in school, and my father every day was in the newspaper, and I go to school with 90 Irishmen and 5 Italians, and 90 of them are calling my dad a mafia guy and disparaging my family, you better damn believe I fought in school. I had no choice.
All right, so you
because my
fought, but
father,
that doesn't give you
No.
qualifications to be a mafioso. You have to do certain things.
That's right, Sammy, we know that.
But you didn't do those things because your father asked for a favor to make you a friend of ours.
That's not true.
That's not true.
No. There was no favors involved.
How did you?
Listen,
how did
no. You asked me a question, let me tell you. 2 weeks after I see my father, little Joey comes and picks me up, takes me to see Tom DeBell at the time, who was acting boss for Persico. And he told me straight out, he says, Michael, your father's proposed you for this life, is this what you want?
So he asked for a favor.
No, he proposed me, Sammy.
That's a favor. He's in prison and he tells them, I want to propose my son. You don't want to call it a favor, you could call it whatever you want.
Call it whatever you want, but everybody has to be proposed.
Of course.
Somebody has to sponsor
But
you.
when he turns around and says, he calls somebody to prison. Now, I don't doubt you. I don't doubt that happened. Yeah, I don't doubt you. So, but he asks a guy, I want to propose my son.
Mm-hmm.
He's proposing. That proposal, that guy goes to the administration and says, Sonny would like to propose his son. So the administration says, why? Did he kill anybody? No. He's going to medical school. He's a nice kid. Good kid. And why should we make him? Well, because he's in prison and he probably wants Michael to take care of his affairs and give him a little strength and power. So they do a favor. That's what it's called.
I don't see it that way. Well,
But I
let
don't
me
know
ask you a
what
question.
other way to
Well,
do it. It's
when-
not that they went there and they said, Michael killed 4 guys. Or Sammy the Bull, this motherfucker is killing people, shooting people, breaking people's faces for the mafia. He earned his bones.
Okay, let me ask you this.
Or made his bones.
So when Persico, when Junior proposed his son, is that a favor?
When
When
Junior-
Joe Colombo proposed his son, Anthony, was that a favor?
No, they're the boss. They don't need no favor. He's the boss.
But is,
The boss is the top. He don't need no favors. He don't need nobody.
but it's
to
the same
propose.
situation.
No, it's not.
Yes, it
He's a
is.
boss. He turns around. He makes anybody he wants to make.
But the point is, because they were his son, they proposed. Why else would he propose him? I want to propose my son.
I
whether
don't
it's a
know.
fa-
I
it's
don't
a-
even know why John Gotti proposed to his son. His kid don't belong in the fucking life he admitted in any way, shape, or form.
but
For power. For power. The guy John Gotti, we'll keep using his name. John Gotti wants power. He proposes his son to become a made member. He's the boss. He didn't propose him. Everybody would have
I
said
know,
no.
but you're getting a reason why, that's immaterial. If Persico is proposing his son, he must, let me
He's not
finish.
proposing him, he makes him. He don't need a proposal.
Okay, If he makes his son,
Yes.
okay, he makes his son. Is it a favor to him and to the family, or is
Nobody
is that
questions
the
him.
way it
He's
goes?
making his son.
Sammy, is the difference here the fact that his father was an underboss, where an underboss cannot propose somebody?
No. The thing is, he's in prison and he wants to propose his son. Him. And he's asking for a favor. So the administration turns around and says, okay, tell Sonny, okay. What did he do?
Well, let me finish.
Nothing.
Now,
More
let me-
than he's his son.
Let me finish.
Yeah.
So now, my father didn't propose my brother John. He didn't propose my brother Carmine. He proposed me. He asked me a question, can you handle this? I said, yes. So now I sit with Tom DeBella, and Tom says, your father proposed you. Is this what you want? I said, this is what my father wants. He said, I didn't ask you that. I said, is this what you want? I said, yes. He says, okay.
All right.
But wait a minute. He said, when and if we tell you, he said, from this point on, I'll give you the exact words. Cosa Nostra comes before anything. If your mother is sick and dying and you're at her bedside, and we call you to service, you leave your mother and you come and serve us. This is your life from now on. Do you accept that? I said, yes. He said, if you're told to do something, you do it. Do you accept that? I said, yes. He says, when and if we feel you're worthy, doesn't matter about your father, we'll let you know. That was it. He assigned me to Andrew Russo, who was my captain at that point. And he said, Andrew says to me, you be down here every day on Carroll Street, and you do whatever you're told. And he said, wear a suit. And that's how it started for me.
I understand that. I understand. But the thing came from your father to them.
Yes.
Now, of course, they have the proposal. And
Yes.
they're going to deal with Sonny. They're going to tell him yes, or they're going to tell him no.
Exactly.
So now that he's not in, so they're going to bring you whoever took care of you or talk to you. Whoever you said, oh, I don't doubt none of that. And they say, okay, this is what you're going to do from here on out. Because they're going to do them a favor. They're not refusing it. A boss doesn't need a favor. He's the boss. One thing you said, a boss, if your mother is sick, leave her alone and come here. It goes a little different. This life is above God, country, family, and then they say that if your kid, your wife, your mother, your father is dying in the fucking hospital and we call for you, you come. Now, it's a rule. It sounds horrible. It's not really carried out to that point. They're just expressing how strong Cosa Nostra is in your life. That's what it's going to mean. And when you tell them yes, and you hear all of these things, you're putting Cosa Nostra above everything, including God.
Well, they didn't mention God to me at that
I
time.
think they do it at every thing. In other
Didn't
words,
mention God.
all right, maybe you want to leave God out. But
No, they didn't mention God.
okay,
Why not
so
leave
they
it
didn't
out?
mention it. But it's like above God to every single wise guy who got made but you.
If they mentioned it, I would have said yes.
Okay,
I grew up Catholic, but Catholicism didn't mean anything to me.
at that point, right.
Nothing. So I would have said yes.
I
but they
believe in
didn't say
God
that.
too, and I said it. But it's a hypothetical. In other words, this is how strong this is. That's what they're telling.
Yes.
It's above everything. We tell you to kill your best friend, you're going to kill your best
Yes.
friend. You kill your brother, of course you're going to fight for him as a made guy, but if he did the wrong thing and broke certain rules, then that's what you
Michael,
want.
question for you. In that moment when they're asking that from you, are you in the back of your mind saying, if it comes down to me having to kill a friend or a family, there's no way I'm going to do it. I'm going to figure out a way to get away from it. Or are you saying, you know what, if they asked me to do it, I would do it. What are you telling yourself? There's a difference between what we tell the individuals we're negotiating with versus what we're saying internally. What were you telling yourself?
Look, at that point in time, and I'm not going to say I'm proud of it now, but I would have done whatever I was told to do. I accept
Got
it.
it. Okay.
And Mitt, I'm going to take his side. You can't, this isn't a business meeting. This is not, your life is on the line, and your family's life. By losing your life, you fuck up your whole family. So you're not going to lose your life because some guy broke the rules. You may love the guy, but you knew the rules, you broke the rules. Now I'm going to die because of you, and what about my family? I didn't break any rules. So he would have to.
Yeah,
Or he
there's no-
would
there's-
do.
There's no negotiation.
There's no negotiation.
So if a hit was made and a job was assigned to you, there is no you negotiating with the boss saying, can somebody else do it? I don't want to
No,
do
here's
it.
what could happen. You can bring up a point, because you can tell me, Sammy, please, this guy here, and bring up your case, what you feel towards the guy or the reasons why you want to save the guy. And I'll hear it. It may work. It may work. It may, this is devastating to Patrick, his entire family. The thing wasn't all that serious. Maybe we can tell him and make a different decision. All right, Patrick, we're going to give it to you. But you got to tell this kid, it's your kid. God forbid. Your kid. Get him the fuck out of New York. He can't come back here no more.
Got it.
We won't kill him. But if he steps foot back in New York, we'll kill him. They can make those agreements. It's not total insanity.
Makes sense.
But if we tell you no, I was told by John a couple of times, and where I'm in a conversation to save the guy. Frankie Chico did it once with Louis Molina, a childhood friend. We're gonna kill him as soon as he comes out. Please, Frankie. His kids sit on my lap. They call me Uncle Sammy. I call them Princess. I'll talk to him. I'll straighten this out. He betrayed us. Frankie didn't want to hear nothing. Frankie was killed 4 months after we killed. A couple of months after, 4 months maybe, after we killed Castellano. And I went to John. And John said, I know what you're trying to do with Frankie. I know he refused it, bro. What he did was horrible. You really want this? Yeah, yes. And I'll read him the riot act, because he was just coming out of prison. Okay. I saved him.
Well,
It worked. But let me just say one more thing. He did it again with rules and fucking all things up. And I went back to John again. And the answer was, Sammy, mind your business. My brother Genie and then we're going to take care of this. Mind your business. Don't talk to me about it. When a boss does that to you, there's no more talking, there's nothing when he gets that.
and I had 2 occasions during my time where I fought hard to save 2 people and I lost both times. Both times.
So he tried to save him,
I
and
tried.
I give him credit for that. That's what he can do that. And I give him credit that he's sitting here and saying, I tried and I lost.
Were you a made man at that time or a couple? Meaning, is there more credibility as a couple given the argument, or?
It was one of each.
Okay, got it.
And
Got it.
it's not more credibility. You could be the underboss, I couldn't save him. It depends on what the person did.
Makes sense. Got it.
And in all honesty, both times they were wrong. They were dead wrong.
Your guys were wrong?
Dead wrong.
Okay, got it. So even though
But-
you tried to defend them, they were still
Yes.
wrong and they took them out?
Yes.
Got it.
Why did you agree to want to do this sit down?
So I didn't want to get into this thing. But it was about Cosa Nostra. I'm a straight out gangster. Michael, I believe, is a straight out racketeer. There's 2 parts of Cosa Nostra. Those are the 2 parts that everybody understands. It's not what you see in the movie all the time. There's a lot of background stuff. We're involved, I shouldn't say we're involved, I'm involved in a lot of good, bad, and ugly things. I don't back away from anything I've ever done in my life. I broke a lot of rules. But the one I broke, Omerta, there was a strong reason why I did that. And I felt that that's one of the reasons why I should sit down at this table with Michael. He had the saint burnt in his hand, just like I did. So he's a friend of ours. It's important that my followers, probably his followers, and the whole world understand the real meaning of a sit down. It's not a matter of who wins and who loses. It's a matter of the public understanding who we are and what Cosa Nostra is. If they get that out, I won. He won. But more important than me or him, Cosa Nostra wins.
I don't have the same feeling that I'm here to prove anything about Cosa Nostra. We were both Cosa Nostra. We both maybe have a different view of it in some ways, but in other ways I think we feel the same. For me, there's a lot of misinformation out there, a lot of misinformation maybe about you. I know a lot of misinformation about me. And as far as I'm concerned, we're the 2 real guys that are left in this life publicly that are able to talk about it. And whatever we say at this table, I know is going to be the truth. I believe it to be. And I think we're going to straighten out some things. I agree with you there. You know, as far as gangster racketeer, no question, I was more of a racketeer than a gangster. I don't hide from that. But I also know, you know, in the 20-some odd years I spent on the street, when I was told to do something, I had to do it. You know that. We don't have a choice. So you do what you have to do. You know, I thought it was important when word got out that this might happen, that it really happens. That he didn't want to do it, I didn't want to do it for whatever reason. And I think we'll straighten some things out today. And we have maybe a different view of that life. I know why I got into it. I heard why you got into it. And I think it's important that, you know, we straighten that out even between us, so that from this point forward, there's nothing else to say. We'll say everything that we have to say during this time.
I made probably just as much money for the family as Michael did. Maybe not as much. He was a big earner. I sat down with Paul Castellano on a table full of people, gangsters, and Paul Castellano, everybody knew, was basically a racketeer. He said at the table one time, it's very, very rare that somebody is both a racketeer and a gangster. He said, we're very fortunate. We have one in our family, maybe even two. Everybody was looking at him, stunned, listening. And he pointed to me. He said, Sammy the Bull is both. I think he would know, and the world already knows, I ran unions all over the city of New York. I ran 5, 6, 7 construction businesses at the same time. These are facts. So I'm as much of a racketeer as he is. I don't think he's as much of a gangster as I am.
Your peak, you were saying you were making how much money per year at your peak?
Look, in the gas business, we were selling 500 million gallons of gas a month. We were taking down 20, 30, 40 cents a gallon, depending upon the deals we made. We were bringing in $5, $8 million a week. And I was paying up on that. But this was money that I earned. I know there's a lot of baloney around it. All of a sudden, gas pipe, I never even had to sit down with gas pipe in the end. Never. Everybody wants to claim credit for the gas. Let me tell you what happened with the gas. There were other guys doing it. Some of the Russians were involved in it. Some of the Russian Jews were involved in it. I happen to have a guy, Larry Irizzo, you know the story, we spoke about it, that came to me with a germ of an idea, and we knew how to grow it into what we grew it in. We did the most in that gas business. There's no doubt about it, because everybody came to us. John came to us through Vic Arena and tried to get a piece. Everybody was trying to get a piece of the action. But the bottom line is we created that.
We had a piece without Vic Arena.
Yeah, we created it. Yeah, I'm not saying it was other guys in it.
Tony Pep and other guys were doing the gas. Let me tell my side of the story.
There was guys into it. No doubt about it. But in my family,
I know guys from the Russians started this.
They did not start it. That's not true.
Okay.
Sammy, I'm going to tell you something. Everybody's telling a story because they think they make it up. The Russians did not. I brought 3 Russians into the business with me. They couldn't get licensed. Gas stopped. This is all a matter of record. Everything I tell you is a matter of record. Mike Markowitz, Lev Persich, David Bokatin. They had a company called Gas Stop. The reason they came to me is because somebody beat them out of $7,000 they couldn't collect. And they came to me through somebody I knew. I brought them into the business because they couldn't get licensed. We expanded big time with them, no doubt about it. They were very aggressive.
I can't think of the captain who came to us, went to John. I'm trying to think his name. He was a guy in the Genovese family who had it. And he asked John, are you in this gas business? He says that he was making so much money, he didn't even know where to hide it anymore.
Right.
And he said, I have a girlfriend that he wasn't even that crazy about. He said, I just bought her a brand new Mercedes. I was sitting there. John said, oh, you bought her a brand new Mercedes? He said, John, I don't even know where to put it anymore. So I just bought it, gave it to her. It's like giving her 3 cents to me. So there was a lot of guys in it. Tony Pep was in it, and I can't think of the other guys.
No doubt.
There was a ton of guys. And that other guy, I think, I knew some of the Russians. This is the way I got it. From the Russians, from other guys who were in it.
Murat Balaguglu was another guy in it. There was other guys in it. There's no doubt.
Let's hear what they told me. Maybe you can tell me they were lying, but that's okay. because I don't give a shit. I wasn't in the gas business. But they said that the Russians are the ones that invented it. What did they do? They came to the United States and they opened up these companies, gas companies. And they turned around and they went to the gas companies and bought the gas and paid for it. So the gas, I'm going to use a hypothetical number, 50 cents a gallon. It becomes $1 a gallon with the gas, with the tax. So they paid the 50 cents a gallon and they got it, the gas. It's paid for. So they got to go and get stations to pump it into the stations. Now the station, we make them save 10 cents, whatever it is, and they pay the gas and the tax to this company. The gas is already paid. They hold the taxes. When it comes time a year and change, the tax money is not being paid to the IRS, they start coming around. Where's the tax money? What'd you do with it? They close the company and they're gone. They're back in fucking Russia. Let me finish it and I give it to you. And that's the way it went. But here's their problem. Not that they needed your protection or mine or anybody else's. What their problem is that they were smart enough to look at the Italians and the mafia and conclude with their connections, they have thousands of gas stations. So now we have it out. We only have 10 people we can convince, or I'm exaggerating, to do it. But now we can go to them, make believe we're scared, and look for their protection, and we're going to make them make money. But they got to give us stations as well. That's what I heard. So good. And
Totally, and I don't mean it, total nonsense.
okay,
First of
like I
all,
said, I wasn't in it,
yeah.
but God,
You told it incorrectly, but you told it in reverse. Russians weren't buying gas, none of that. What happened originally, and you can go back and see, the tax was being collected at the gas station level. You
Right.
could have been
Right.
anybody sitting in his room, owned a gas station, didn't pay the tax. 7, 8 months later, you close down. Somebody else takes over, now they gotta pay the tax. The government was very slow in collecting. They were antiquated. What happened, Rizzo had a small company called Vantage Petroleum. That's what he was doing. He had different people he installed in gas stations. And they'd run the gas station for a couple of months. When the government finally came down, they disappear. A month later, a new guy takes over. Now the government thinks they get smart. They say, oh, we're not going to collect at the gas station level anymore. We're going to require you to be a licensed wholesaler. You got to get licensed. Russians couldn't get licenses. We were able to get licenses because we had connection. But here's what happened. Then they started collecting at the wholesale level, where the wholesaler collected the tax, and we were responsible to pay the government. I had 18 different companies that were licensed to collect the tax. Nobody else had that, because we had a connection to get the license, and we had companies that were using out of Panama. And let me tell you, let me give Rizzo the credit. He was brilliant in how he figured out the scheme. I just helped him expand it and do what I had to do
year
to
did
protect
you
it.
go away? Was John
I went
doing
away-
this?
I
When you
went
were
away in
talking
85.
about John and you were talking about him doing the gas or whatever, was this before Castellano or after?
It was before.
That was before.
Yeah.
He was doing gas after Castellano, after, and you were gone.
Yes.
And so was this guy, I could get his name, but I can't think of it, in the Genovese family. And I know other people who were doing it. I was never in it. When I even thought about doing it, John said, we got Tony Pep, again, I can't think of the other guy's name, they're doing it for us. And everybody in his money is making money. There was even people in Providence who were doing it.
Here's a problem with all of that, though. I went away because Rizzo, who created a big part of the scheme, became an informant. And he's the guy that told
I
on
know,
everybody.
I know.
He's the guy that told on everybody. But the bottom line, when I first got involved, and again, this comes to the money and power, I went to Junior. When I realized what I had, and I said, Junior, I'm gonna show you more money than you ever saw before. He immediately said, no drugs. We don't deal in drugs. I said, Junior, I hate drugs. You know that. I don't want to get into that. We don't deal with drugs. I said, it's gas. I said, but here's what's going to happen. I said, I got a guy, he's pretty smart. I believe in what he's doing. I said, but everybody and their brother's going to want to get into this. I didn't have the Russians at that moment. I said, everybody and their brother's going to want to get into this. When that happens, we're going to get destroyed. I said, because everybody's going to mess it up. I said, you got to protect me, You gotta make me win every argument. You can't let anybody get involved. If you do that, I'll show you more money than you ever saw before. He said, show me. Junior, you don't talk, show me. I was bringing him $2 million a week, and that brought a lot of loyalty. And when John, and the reason I had a problem with Vic Arena, and I know we're gonna talk about that, is because Vic teamed up with John to come against me to get a piece of the gas business. Both.
I don't know that.
Yeah, he did. This was in 81, 82, around there. And it didn't happen because they were trying to get me to service them. And I said, Junior, if you're going to give these guys credit, then you're responsible to collect. I said, because I'm not going to go through that, because gas in the ground is like money. You turn that the next day, you got cash. You got a couple of $1 million of gas in the ground, that's money. Same thing.
Absolutely.
So we kept them out. But it wasn't the Russians. We brought the Russians in. Some of them were doing it.
After
They were
Paul,
doing it.
it was the Russians.
Afterwards,
And
maybe.
I did time with one of the Russians.
I can't speak for what happened afterwards. I know my 3 Russians were destroyed because Irish gave all 3 of them
Yeah,
up.
well, they weren't doing that, like you said, like you were doing with the gas. And I know you made a lot of money, but the Russians did it again on their own in a different way, and they were hooked all over the place. With
The
that.
FBI blamed me for teaching the government, teaching the Russians how to defraud the
The
government.
FBI blamed you.
Yeah, they blamed me. They said because now from the gas business, they went into the health business and they're taking money left and right in the healthcare scams. And it's all the Russians and Armenians, I believe.
These are Armenians, seriously, it's just, you gotta.
No, that's what they told me. They took me out to California and said, see all the Armenians running, they're scamming like crazy. I said, and they said, you taught them how to do it. I
You gotta
said,
be careful with
don't
that.
blame me.
But the Armenians, you gotta be careful with them. We're gonna go through a lot of different topics. We're gonna cover the first Colombo War, second one, third one. We're gonna talk about Gotti. There's gonna be stories we're gonna talk about that have to do with social events. Victor Orena, there's a lot of things that we're gonna go through. I wanna kind of go through some of the issues. The first one is Cosa Nostra. You kind of went through your story. Did it have the same meaning for you then as it does today?
No. No, look. Sammy and I come from a different place, and maybe he was more ingrained in it than I was from a kid as far as being involved. But from what I saw, and I want to make this clear, I'm not mad at anybody. I didn't take revenge on anybody, but I'm honest about it. It's not what it's cracked up to be. I saw guys get killed for the wrong reason. I saw jealousy and envy destroy my father in a lot of ways, destroy my family. I saw things happen that shouldn't have gotten happen. It's, the honor is there to a degree, but when money and power come into play, a lot of times it's not there anymore. I'm honest about it. Now, I'm not condemning anybody else because I was part of it and I lived that way. I tried to be a little different in that regard. Sam and I were different. I agree with you, gangster, racketeer, you were both. I know you, I heard your reputation on the street. I was more a racketeer in that when I had to do something, and look, let's get this out there. You're a made guy in that life, you gotta do something. As many times as you're told to do it, you gotta do it. Now, I may not be the guy they pointed to all the time, because I was the guy bringing in the money, and I was respected for that. And it was substantial money, and that means something. But when I was told to do something, I had to do it, period. And there's times when I didn't like what I was doing at all. I wasn't comfortable with it. If I talk about it now, I'm still very uncomfortable. But number one, I'm not gonna let anybody talk about me. And there's nobody on the street that could say that I was given an order and I didn't do it. And I'm never gonna embarrass my father in that regard. So I did what I had to do during that time.
And I respect you for that. And I respect you for what you're saying right now. Let me add one more thing, because you just put the whole mafia on Front Street as far as Cosa Nostra, as far as all of these ugly things. I agree with you 1,000%. I was involved in a lot of those ugly things, and I know exactly how you feel. There's nobody who understands you more than me, I think, and respects you for what you're saying. But let me add this to it. Cops have ugly things. Politicians have ugly things. We do fucking wars.
No argument
and
there.
we bomb countries and kill men, women, and children. So let's not get the mafia is ugly. And it did ugly things. But so did the rest of the fucking world.
But that doesn't make it right.
It doesn't make it right, but you
It doesn't-
can't single out one thing. It makes it that there are a lot of ugly people in the mafia. There's a lot of ugly cops. And I'll use that term. There's a lot of ugly politicians, governors, mayors, congresspeople, senators.
Totally agree.
We bomb and fucking destroy countries that are bullshit. I was taught to kill, and I would have killed in Vietnam if I would have shipped there. I don't know of one fucking Vietnamese person I've ever met who's a bad person. And I was taught they were coming here, they're gonna rape your mother, your sisters, and this and that, and training me. I'm stabbed in the bag. Yeah, I'm gonna kill them. I didn't meet no bad people. I never even seen one Vietnamese person in 22 years of my prison stay. The only Vietnamese people I ever fucking saw did my fucking nails, toenails, and were the politest people I ever met. So there's ugliness all around us.
I agree.
It's not just the life. There's a lot of things in the mafia that turn my stomach. I do videos. I knock some people's brains in some of the videos because I thought it was extremely ugly. People died. Should have never died.
I agree, but you know what? It's very personal to me, Sammy, and I'll tell
It
you
is to
why.
me too.
I'll tell you what. I love my father more than anything. And I respect the fact that they could have, I don't care what they did to him, he was never going to snitch on anybody, never going to talk, never. I respect his principle, but in the same token, he destroyed our family. He put that, let me finish. He put that life above our family. My mother was 33 years without a husband. 33 years. At the end of her life with my father, their relationship could only be called ugly.
And
Terrible.
you took that same oath.
Exactly.
Bro, you just took the same oath.
But let me
And you put
finish.
that above your mother and everybody.
At
your
that
father.
time, at that time.
So he did the same thing. He didn't do anything ugly.
Yes, he did.
I mean, no, not that I
no.
know of. I know your father too. I knew him as a man's man. He didn't do anything. He lived the life.
I know, Sammy, but here's the thing, okay? That life became before my family. And as a result,
With every made guy it does.
I understand that, family, but that doesn't make it right, Sammy.
I don't say
Because
it's
we
right.
No, because we take that oath, it doesn't mean we're taking the oath for the right thing, okay? And for me, when you put something like that above your family, and your family is destroyed as a result of it, that's not a good thing. And I've said this all the
I
time.
didn't
Look,
say it's a good
no, I'm
thing. I
gonna say-
just said that you did the same exact thing.
Exactly, 100%. I cop to that and I take full responsibility. But I have said this, and here's where we're going to disagree. Cosa Nostra is an evil life. It's evil. You know why? Because I don't know any family of any member of that life that hasn't been destroyed. And any lifestyle that does that to a family is a bad life. It's an evil life. I was part of it, so I'm taking responsibility for being part of
Why don't
it.
we just beat up on everybody who's got some evil in there? Churches have got some evil in it.
Sammy,
Everybody's got some
Sammy, it's
evil
not
in
the
it.
same. We're taking an oath. We're saying that we're putting that life above God, above family. That's
Well, I
not,
got you to admit the God part, but
no. Well, I'm using your words. I didn't take that
No,
specific
you use
oath.
my words. You just
I didn't
popped it
take-
out of your mouth.
I didn't take that
No, no, no,
specific
no,
oath at
you
that
just-
time, but I
just-
would have.
Did I put a gun?
I would
Somebody
have.
put a gun at you to say that?
No,
But
I
anyway,
would have.
Listen, everybody, cops take an oath. You said they want to lock up their mother and father.
If they're committing a crime. That's the
Yeah,
oath they
so
take.
the only thing we ever hurt you if you commit a crime against Cosa Nostra and you break the rules.
That's not true, Sammy. You can't
Well,
say that's
listen,
true in
no,
every
there's-
case.
No, of course not.
not
Listen,
true.
Roy DeMeo, let me get into this fucking nut.
Roy
Became
DeMeo
a
was
serial
a
killer. He was a bad
maniac.
dog, yes, but he's one apple.
I agree.
These cops, they're not all bad.
That's true.
Paul gave a good example. A lot of these cops are good people. Who do we
100%.
call every time we're in trouble? They want to get rid of cops
I
today.
am all for the
Patrick
police.
gets a fucking heart attack right now. He's laying on the floor. There's no cops. I'm not giving him out to mouth.
So wait a
Even
minute.
though I like the guy.
So you and I
What
agree.
the fuck?
Wait. You and I agree. We're not defunding the police.
No,
we agree on that.
absolutely
I-
not.
and we were two criminals,
for my
and we don't want to
reason-
defund the
For my
police.
reason, My ex-wife is right now, she's got COPD, she's not well. You had a daughter who wasn't well. God forbid something happens. Your
100%.
wife seems to be a beautiful person. I'm not talking looks.
She
She's
is.
good looking. But
She's
she's
beautiful,
good at
and
heart.
she's beautiful.
Yeah, and she's beautiful too. I admit it. I didn't want to say that because maybe you get jealous. Maybe you
No.
think I'm flirting with your wife, but I'm not. You know I'm not. But if she gets sick, we're sitting here.
I
She
agree.
dials 911. That's going to save her.
So here's the irony. You got two former criminals that have more sanity than half the people out there that want to defund the
Yes,
police.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Coming up on Mafia States of America.
I love the life. I still like it.
Well, you got to know the life, Sam.
And John, the betrayal, I said the same thing as your father. Fuck this life and him.
Betrayal happens all the time.
Is that inevitable?
It happens all the time.
Greed, envy, jealousy, that's a way of life.
My father, later on, when he was 100 years old, said on tape, I killed a lot of guys. Not one or two, but a lot of
I
guys.
don't know how impressive that is. I don't
It's
think-
not impressive.
I don't
I'm
think
trying to make a-
saying that's some sort
I'm
of
trying to make a
impression. My
point.
son don't know who I killed.
Did you ever kill someone as a made man?
You're not the best gangster ever.
Well, who is, Sammy?
What did Omerta mean to you?
It meant open your mouth when you're in a dentist's office.
Oh, what are you gonna do?
What am I gonna do? I'll break your fucking face. That's what the fuck I'll do.